At a tractor showroom in India, a man entered the premises and attempted to take a tractor without authorization. While trying to operate the vehicle, it began moving unexpectedly, and one of its large rear wheels made contact with him. Shortly afterward, he stood up, climbed onto the tractor, and drove it out of the showroom compound. The theft was reported to authorities, and the vehicle was recovered about 400 kilometers away several days later. Heavy vehicles must be secured at all times within commercial premises. Key control policies, immobilization systems, wheel restraints, and restricted public access areas are essential safeguards. Preventing unauthorized operation not only protects property, but also reduces the risk of unintended vehicle movement and potential injury. At a loading area, 2 workers were unloading large, heavy boxes from a truck. One worker stood on the vehicle bed, separating the stacked boxes so his teammate could move them safely to the ground. Everything seemed under control until one of the boxes on the side began to shift. Before he could react, the load slid unexpectedly, causing the worker to lose balance and fall from the truck. At the same time, heavy boxes fell in the same direction, making contact with him as it landed. This incident highlights the importance of securing materials properly during loading and unloading operations. On a quiet street, a tricycle that was parked near a wall unexpectedly moved on its own. It appeared that the parking brake hadn't been engaged, and as a result, the tricycle rolled forward into the open street. Unfortunately, a woman nearby was in its path, and the vehicle made contact with her before coming to a stop. Although it was a small, low-speed incident, it served as a strong reminder of how easily accidents can happen when vehicles aren't properly stabilized. Always ensure that tricycles, delivery carts, or any small vehicles are turned off completely and the brakes are securely applied before leaving them unattended. On a busy roadway, a truck had just started moving after a brief stop. At the same time, a woman riding a scooter was approaching from behind at high speed. As the truck gained momentum, the scooter rider was unable to slow down in time and made contact with the back of the vehicle. This incident is a clear reminder for both drivers and riders to maintain safe distances and remain alert to changing traffic movements. Truck drivers should always check mirrors and surroundings before moving, while scooter and motorcycle riders should anticipate slow or stopped vehicles ahead. Inside a paper factory, a large roll of paper was moving smoothly through heavy rollers. Nearby, a worker carried out his usual tasks. Everything seemed normal until he stepped too close to the moving roller. As his foot touched the surface, the machine pulled him toward the mechanism. Co-workers quickly noticed and acted immediately. They stopped the rollers and, after a determined effort, managed to release him from the machine. The fast response prevented the situation from becoming much worse. This incident emphasizes the importance of keeping a safe distance from moving rollers and never making contact with running machinery. Protective barriers, emergency stop systems, and proper training are critical in preventing such accidents. Workers should always wear suitable footwear, stay clear of in-feed areas, and follow lockout procedures when maintenance is needed. With clear safety awareness and teamwork, factories can ensure that powerful machines remain controlled and safe. Inside an industrial area, a heavy stone block was being moved by an overhead crane. Nearby, a worker stood close to a parked forklift, unaware that the suspended load was passing above. As the crane shifted, the stone swung unexpectedly and made contact near where the worker was standing. The area was quickly secured, and operations were stopped immediately. This incident highlights how critical situational awareness is in industrial environments. Workers should always stay clear of suspended loads and ensure lifting zones are clearly marked and restricted. On December 12, 2024, in China, movers were attempting to lower a large sofa from an upper-floor apartment to a truck below. After encountering difficulty transporting it through the building, one worker released the sofa over the balcony with the intention of coordinating its landing at ground level. The item fell without control and struck a passing pedestrian. Emergency services responded, and the individual was transported for treatment. The individual was reported injured during the incident and later confirmed to be in stable condition. Furniture and heavy objects must never be dropped from height. Certified lifting equipment, controlled lowering systems, and clearly marked exclusion zones are essential when conducting moving operations above ground level. Inside a large manufacturing facility, Daily operations were running as usual. An empty forklift was being moved toward an industrial lift that connected the ground floor to an upper level where more materials were to be handled. A worker stood nearby, guiding the forklift operator to align it precisely with the platform before lifting it to the next floor. Everything seemed routine. The forklift reached the designated spot and came to a stop while waiting for the lift platform to be ready. However, within moments, something went wrong. The forklift suddenly rolled backward before the lift gate was fully secured. This incident highlights the importance of ensuring that industrial lifts and surrounding zones are completely secured before positioning any heavy equipment nearby. Forklifts should always be powered down or placed in neutral with brakes fully engaged while waiting. Workers should also maintain a safe distance from edges or open lift shafts until all mechanical barriers and gates are locked in place. Inside a large steel manufacturing plant, a massive bucket filled with molten metal was being transported by an overhead crane. The movement was part of a daily operation, shifting the molten material from the furnace area to the casting zone. Workers on the ground were guiding the bucket's path, ensuring it remained stable as it traveled along its track. Everything appeared to be running smoothly, just another day at the factory. As the bucket reached its destination, additional workers gathered around to assist in the controlled pouring process. The crane operator carefully positioned the bucket over the designated mold, preparing for the pour. However, during the tilting process, a minor alignment issue caused a section of molten metal to flow outside the intended area. Instead of entering the mold completely, some of the hot material spilled near the work platform and surrounding structure. This incident underscores the importance of precision, coordination, and equipment inspection when working with high-temperature materials. Before any molten metal transfer, all alignment points, pouring mechanisms, and containment barriers should be thoroughly checked. Operators and ground workers must maintain clear communication and ensure no one stands close to the discharge area during pouring. On July 11, 2025, at Aeropuerto de Milan Bergamo, a 35-year-old man identified as Andrea Russo accessed a restricted airside area without authorization. The aircraft was taxiing in preparation for departure when the individual ran onto the active runway and approached one of the operating jet engines. Despite attempts by security personnel to intervene, he moved directly into the engine's intake hazard zone. The event resulted in fatal outcomes. Airports must maintain strict perimeter control and layered security to prevent unauthorized access to active movement areas. Clearly defined restricted zones, rapid response security coordination, and continuous surveillance are critical safeguards. In addition, public awareness of jet engine intake hazards and enhanced runway intrusion prevention systems are essential components of aviation ground safety management.